Welcome back to the Jewish music platform. Tuvia here. And in this episode, Moshe and I have the pleasure of sitting down with an old friend of mine, Tzvi Solomons. Tzvi is a very talented drummer and percussionist and co-songwriter of the fast-rising Israeli band Nuriel. It was a pleasure to use this podcast as an excuse to reconnect with him. Now, Nuriel's music is hard to describe. I see on their website they call it indie rock. What's indie rock? I have no idea. But here is a clip of a song of theirs called All We See Is Light. It'll give you a little bit of an inkling of what their music, what their sound is all about. Check it out.
The walls that tumbled, and the Rangers left, and the barricades swept the streets at night. The people cry. One glance, last stand, and I'm raising my hands in a desperate defense, and darkness rises behind my eyes. And when all we see is light, oh, and all we see is light, oh, and all we see is light. Yeah, and all we see is light. Yeah. I don't know what you told her, but I ain't no noted warrior. Can't bear the noise out there, my fears are buried beneath the stairs. When I can't take it anymore, take it to the end.
There's a lot of light coming from that music. Okay, now before we get started with the interview, I want to ask you a question. Are you in the market for high-end baby equipment? We're talking strollers, cribs, and car seats. You like the good stuff? How would you like 10% off the lowest prices possible on that good stuff? We're talking about Up a Baby, Duna. We're talking about Bugaboo, all the good stuff, all the good Tessachora. It could be yours for 10% off. All you have to do is reach out to Oh Baby Deals, and we'll give you the number in a minute. So let me tell you a little backstory about Oh Baby Deals. Reb Shaya Swietiski is a distant cousin of mine and now a friend. He is working out with the manufacturers a deal where he buys in bulk and then he gets you your stuff for 10% off the lowest price as fast as you need it. Now imagine you want your baby to be comfortable when you're going from point A to point B, and you want your baby to be comfortable when your baby's sleeping. So this is how you do it. You get the best stuff. All you have to do is reach out to Oh Baby Deals, WhatsApp or text at 443-381-9153. That's 443-381-9153. Or email ohbabydeals@gmail.com. That's ohbabydealz@gmail.com. And of course, we'll put this all in the episode notes so you don't miss it. Oh Baby Deals, the best prices, highest quality, and best selection. Without further ado, the Jewish music platform with Tzvi Solomons. Welcome back to the Jewish music platform. I'm Tuvia, and this is
Moshe Sherazin.
And we are here with a very special guest all the way from Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, our friend Tzvi Solomons. Welcome, Tzvi.
Shalom, Tzvi Solomons. Shalom, shalom.
There's a little backstory here. Tzvi is not just a random musician that we heard about, but I have a long...
Tell us the backstory. What is the backstory?
Let's tell the backstory.
The listeners want to know.
Let's go back 20 years.
Wow.
And I am a fresh Baal Tshuva, and I'm arriving in Yerushalayim, coming from music school, from spending most of my days playing the trumpet, composing, playing with different bands and orchestras, and then coming to a yeshiva environment which was very intense, and feeling at some point that, hey, you know what, I need to express myself musically. It's not enough for me to just practice, which I was doing, but I need to perform. I need to get this music out. I need to write new music. So that was the idea. And I was looking for fellow musicians in Yerushalayim, and somebody recommended to me, you have to speak to Tzvi Solomons. I contacted Tzvi, a few other musicians, and we tried it out. We said, see if it worked. And the Tzvi was, at this time, he was 12 years old.
Wow.
And he was a sweet boy with beautiful payas. And he was definitely a child prodigy in drums, and this is what people were telling me about it.
Wow.
He was just not quite experienced enough, I felt, to hang with the boys, to be like a sort of like jazz kind of klezmers, improvisation type of thing that we were doing. But very, very talented, obviously a lot of raw talent. But his teacher, his instructor at the time was, his name is Zev Macklin. He's a drummer, a former rock drummer who was a Nazir, actually, and lives in Yerushalayim. Is he still a Nazir?
No, actually, no. I think he was a Nazir for, I think it was 10 years, maybe more. But yeah,
Wow.
he was a Nazir, like to do with like you make an oath, and I think it was up. Whatever oath he made was like the condition was made or something. So that was it.
So anyway, Zev, he was a good salesman, and he says, you got to have this guy. You could do worlds for him, and he's gonna perform. He's gonna rise up to the challenge. And so we gave Tzvi a chance, and I'm so glad that we did, because we had a beautiful performance. We did quite a few rehearsals, and we made a beautiful performance in Har Nof. And like I said, this is probably 19 years ago. And
a long time ago.
And then we did another performance the next year with a slightly different group of musicians. And I was able to, I'm grateful for that, because I was able to write new music and perform it for a totally new audience. And I think that the Har Nof audience had never heard anything like that before.
That's for sure.
And that was unique for them. And it was great for me to get to know Tzvi and his family. And since then, it's been a long time. Because
Tzvi, do you remember those concerts, shows?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it was.
You were a little guy.
I was 12. I think that was like my first like official concert behind a drum set. I was playing bongo since I was 6. I started performing when I was 8. But behind the drum set, I think my first official concert was with you, Tuvia. And yeah, I was quite nerve-wracked, to be honest. And I was reading sheet music and like what was I doing? Man, I don't know.
Reading sheet music?
Yeah, I wrote out, like when he has to know where the hits are. And,
you guys are real musicians. I feel out of place over here.
Dude, I was when I think back and I'm like, what was I thinking? I was 12, but yeah, it worked. Thank God.
Yeah.
Did you go to Tzvi's bar mitzvah?
I went to Tzvi's bar mitzvah. I think it was Pasha Shalach.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
Wow, good memory. Yeah.
Okay, I remember this. Yeah. And his father. Wait. So Tzvi, before we start talking about your family, tell us. Now, I remember your father told me the story about how you started to become a drummer, and I want to know if you remember his story, your story.
So, if I remember correctly, my father's story goes, when I was 3, I think I was in the living room. We were living in England at the time. And he heard, just like any other kid, somehow found from the kitchen like a couple of spoons and a couple of pots and started drumming away. And my father said that he kind of noticed from upstairs that like there's a certain sense of rhythm to this. So he was kind of, because he plays percussion himself. So he was kind of taken by it. So he actually decided he's going to time me. So he walks into the room and he looks at the clock and then he's like, okay, when is he going to stop? And he said it was 20 minutes later and I was still playing with to like certain type of rhythm. And he was saying that for a 3-year-old, that's quite a long time. I kind of believe him. And that's kind of where it started, apparently.
I have an addition to the story. I think the way I heard it, if I remember, is that when you started playing, you had just a few pots and pans. And when he came back 20 minutes later, you had them all.
You brought the children with you.
Okay. Wow.
You have to confirm that with him.
Okay, I'll ask him about that.
Yeah. So it's very special for me to be here. Moshe didn't know Tzvi beforehand, but I have, and it's been quite a few years since we've seen each other, and it's very nice and to be back here. And Tzvi has done a lot of musical projects since we've left each other, and we'd love to talk about those and what he's doing now. And so let's go from there. Tzvi, tell us. After we played together through your young teenage years, and like tell us what you did with your music and what you're doing now.
So I was learning, as you said, with Zev Macklin privately. I would meet with him once a week, and I would be practicing every single day. When I wouldn't, my father would threaten to stop the music lessons, and that was a big fear of mine. So I definitely kept up my practice. So I studied until I was 18 with him. I studied with one guy when I was like 11 till 12, and then with him I think until I was 18. So I was learning I think for 7 years actually altogether.
Wow.
And during that
Just
time,
apprenticeship.
yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a lot of time to practice my chops. And so during that time, I was in and out of different wedding bands that formed, within the Haredi circle. Um, a lot. I mean, also like I grew up, we were very involved in the music scene. My mother, especially like the more like Baal Tshuva, Karbach kind of music scene. So we knew a lot of musicians, and we also knew we had an open house. We had a lot of people coming in and out, so a lot of weddings, and a lot of the people that we got to know when I was a kid, they were like, I would love to have Tzvi as the drummer for my wedding. So actually, my mom, which was also a wedding organizer and a Kala teacher and all kind of things that she did for free, by the way. So she would put together different wedding bands for these different, chassanim or kalot that would ask. And so that's kind of how I started getting, kind of rubbing shoulders with all kind of different musicians, names which you might know, like Laser Lloyd, Chaim David, different people from the Karbach scene mainly. And so I was in and out of a bunch of different wedding bands until I was 18. And then when I was 19, my mom passed away, and a year later, so I didn't really wasn't that involved in music during that year. But the year after that, I joined a band called Star, which we were together
Oh,
for.
really?
You've heard of Star?
Do you know he's in Star? I thank the King for returning
Yeah,
my soul in the
that's
morning
us.
when the sun is young. Right?
I don't know Star.
Right? What a
Yeah.
song!
Mode
I
ani
have goosebumps.
lefanecha. Yeah, great song. Yeah, that's it.
I love that lo-fi. What do you call that?
They call this IYK. If you know,
If
you
you know, you know.
And oh no, you're raising eyebrows.
And IK. We'll have to drop a link for that. Okay, back to you, so Star.
So yeah, I was with Star for probably like 6 years.
So can I interrupt? What does star mean to an Israeli? It means dollar bills.
Star
What does it
means
mean?
contract. Star means, I mean, it literally means like like a contract or a formal piece of paper. That's literally.
But why would you name your band Star? Like I'm thinking, and there'd be no American English-speaking band that would name themselves Contract. So it must mean something else.
It's definitely weird. So actually, there was three raving Baal Tshuvas coming from a rich musical background. So Ori Mori, I don't think his wife knows his name before he's a Baal Tshuva. But apparently he would rap in all sorts of big, just in front of big crowds and with big names. And so he had a rapping background. And then Brad Rubenstein, he had a band called Lisp. They actually had a $1 million contract with London Records.
There's a lot of money back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It actually, they never saw daylight because kind of the company sold, like they changed owners and they came out with new policies, whatever it is. So that was also before he was about Tshuva. So he was heavily involved in music. And then when they met in Aish, and they started doing music together, and they were studying Gemara, Kiddushin, and it talks about Star, and it's the first time they heard the word. And they're like, Star, what's Star? That's a cool name. Only after they liked the name, they discovered what it means, and then they kind of like, okay, we can work with this contract. It's like, well, music. What is music about? It's kind of, I mean, a contract this is what they would say on stage when people would ask them about the name. So a contract, right, is basically this legal form that creates a certain defined relationship between two parties, right? So, right, music kind of, right, you have the band and you have the crowd, and then the music is kind of creating this relationship, which we all know as musicians, there's an actual relationship that goes on, right, between a performer and the crowd. Like the energy of the crowd is gonna definitely have an effect in what music will happen that night. So they said like Star for music, they're like, you know what, it works, and they kind of just stuck with it. So yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well explained.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you formed that band. That band formed when you were about 20 years old.
So that band formed when I was about 20. I was with them for 6 years, and during those 6 years, I was in another band called Saltalena, which we played. So Star was
South Carolina. I had to say, I had to do it.
so Star was hip hop. Saltalena was funk, just straight up funk. Um, we were together for about, I would say, 2 or 3 years. It was a lot of fun. Not a big market, but a lot of fun. And we would like wear costumes on stage. It was like we went like straight up funk. It was pretty crazy. And during the end of Saltalena's life is when Nuriel formed. So at some point I was a part of three different bands: Star, Saltalena, and Nuriel. Um, Star ended approximately the same time when Saltalena did, which was kind of the first like kind of year or two into Nuriel. And so since then, for the last, I would say, about 4 years, the only band that I've been committed to is Nuriel. Involved in different, music events that I'm asked to that I asked to join, or step in for other drummers or record sessions or whatever it is. But my band that I'm fully invested in as um, kind of finding my own mode of expression, my own um, uh, kind of
Voice.
yeah, my own voice. I very much finding it in Nuriel, and not looking for it elsewhere. Thank God I'm busy doing all sorts of different things, and thank God I'm a father now too. So when other people ask me to join to form bands and join things, I turn them down. Because Nuriel is pretty much what I'm doing musically these days, and I feel fulfilled with that, and I feel like we still have a long way to go, and we're kind of very much pushing forward. So that's where things are at.
Beautiful. And you said in terms of finding your voice, sometimes people don't understand the value of drums. He's like the guy in the back, the Ringo Starr, Nabuck, the Ringo, you know. But like your style is so beautiful, and again, for people who don't really deeply understand percussion, they may not get it. But there's a different kind of sticks that you use at the right time.
Yeah.
Not everyone does that.
So wait, so
Like I'm sure we can have a whole couple episodes about the sticks and how and when, but like there's so much soul, and it's like that. It's almost like the 6-year-old playing bongos is back, sneaking it on a drum set. And like I saw in some of your videos, you're playing the set, but also had got something in your hand. Like there's definitely a lot of uniqueness over there. Not just your talus, your talit katan, but you got a lot of color, and I appreciate the music.
Cool. I appreciate that.
So Tzvi, tell us about Nuriel. First of all, what is Nuriel? What does it mean? And what kind of music are you guys making? I listened to it. I don't know how to define it. And what are you going for? What do you want to give to the world?
Yeah, what kind of sound is it? Who influenced that sound? Yeah.
Cool. So okay, Nuriel as a name, it's a Hebrew name, right? Or I should say it's maybe Aramaic. I'm not even sure, but it's Lashon Hakodesh, and it means Nuri El, God is my candle, or the candle, or the God's
Beautiful.
candle. It's actually a name of an angel. It started off really, again, interestingly, here too, where the band very much liked just the sound, Nuriel. Especially also in Hebrew, like Nuriel. But anyway, Nuriel. Maybe, I'm not sure actually. Maybe it was the English version, the Americanized.
Say it the way you want it.
Yeah.
It's fine. The way you hear it is how we want to hear it.
So it was mostly actually Jonathan Atias, which is kind of he's mainly the songwriter and the singer for Nuriel. He writes most of the stuff. So he was the one that suggested this name. And so we went through a whole bunch of different names, and we couldn't agree to anything except for this one as a band. And the meaning came along. I mean, we like the sound, but also we definitely also like the meaning. And we've been over the years connecting more and more to the fact that the Nuriel stands for light, for the angel of light, the angel of the flame. We have a song called Caught in a Flame. We have a song called All We See Is Light. So we definitely very much feel connected to the concept of bringing light, and bringing light to darkness, bringing, and really being real with hard times, and the rough side of life, and bringing light to it, and holding it, and giving it space, and bringing it hope and stuff. So a lot of our songwriting is also around kind of that dynamic. So that's to do with the name. And what did you ask after that?
What are the
Right.
influences, the musical influences going into the music, and what you already answered one of the questions. What are you hoping to give to the world? You said you want to bring light to the darkness.
Yeah.
That's what the music
Yeah,
is
definitely.
doing.
Give light to the darkness, give hope to the hopeless. Um, and just hold space for anybody that might feel, because with music it's like, you can feel, or anybody can feel lost. And I think a lot of people can feel understood or belonging, when you hear the right song. You just kind of, it just says what can't be said sometimes. Um, and we really, in our shows, we very much, we perform a lot. Our shows are very meaningful to us, so we want to give people. We have a song called Moment. If you would ask Jonathan, the songwriter, like, what does he want to give the world, he would say, I want to give them a moment. And that song is like, very much about, giving each other a moment, like a real moment, a moment where you walk away and was like, wow, that was a moment. That was a real moment. I'm going to remember that moment forever. And we just kind of want to create that, with people, and, together experience, like, feel like we experienced that, and that's going to live with us. Um, and feel connected that way. And the influences are, it's interesting because we're five members, and we all have, similar but different musical backgrounds.
Yeah, very talented members. Very talented members. I'm just amazed. I'm just.
Cool.
Okay, I'll let you
The,
talk. But
the,
just that music, when I watch the videos and I listen to it, I see, is that a cello or an upright bass? What is
that's the
that?
Cello.
cello. Yeah.
Excuse my ignorance.
Come on, man.
I said cello first,
Yeah, that's a cello.
but like, who has a cello in their
But
band?
what's
Like,
unique is that he has the cello with a shoulder strap, and he's standing up and playing the cello.
Yeah.
that's unique.
That's a chidush.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
but every musician, there's what to talk about with every musician. The tone of that hollow body guitar is like, ooh. Okay, but back to you though.
Yeah, it's
The
yeah,
influences each
yeah,
member.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's more to do with kind of where we want to go with music, with our sound and stuff. So we'll get there for sure. But influences. So yeah, different members. So first of all, three members are brothers. Three members of the band are belong to the Atias family. They come from the Atias family,
Is
which
this the
is
SES family from Harnov?
that's right. Do you know them?
We're going to get back to the episode in just 1 minute, but first I want to ask you, are you a small business owner? Would you like somebody to come into your business and figure out what you're spending too much money on when it comes to IT needs, when it comes to point of sale, when it comes to phone systems, when it comes to printer contracts, copiers, software, hardware? Wouldn't you like somebody who could tell you the best stuff to use for what you need personally? Well, if you would, if you can identify with what I'm saying, you want to reach out to Yitz at ITQuix. That's ITQIX.com. Yitz is going to come in. He's going to look at the whole system. He's going to tell you what you need and what you don't need. He's going to save your business tons of money on a yearly basis that you can use to grow your business. For a free consultation, reach out to Yitz, ITQuix, ITQIX.com. And now, back to the Jewish Music Platform. Well, we just our last interview. I don't know when it's going to drop, but was with Yitzchak Atias.
Okay, so that he's
It was
the
a beautiful,
father.
deep interview.
Beautiful.
Wow.
He has three sons. Okay, we didn't even touch upon that with
Yes,
the
yes.
interview with him.
Nice.
We're hoping to be in Harnof at his house for Havdalah in the near future.
It's an unforgettable moment, really. Those Havdalah, it's like anything can give you an energy to last a week other than Shabbat. It's the Atiyas Havdalah, that's for sure.
Wow.
100%. So actually, also, to be honest, I feel like he's like my drumming guru, Yitzchak Atiyas. I mean, he doesn't play drums; he plays percussion, but just his view of rhythm. You were mentioning, Moshe. You were mentioning before the fact that I change sticks, right, during the set. I like to use a lot of different sticks, to create different textures and sounds. And Yitzhak is, to me, he's the one that really introduced me to um, using rhythm as an instrument as opposed to just the rhythm, right? So it sings, right? So a lot of the times also in our music, we kind of like drop out of um, the song into a very like ambience type of sound, and then back into like a really tight um, rhythm section part. So we love going in and out of rhythm. Not necessarily different time signatures, but just kind of going into a space where there's no rhythm and then back into rhythm. And in those spaces where there's no rhythm, I love to create textures. We all as a band create like layers of textures, which involves different sticks, different type of cymbals and drums, and using the drums in different types of ways. So there's a lot of what to explore there, and yeah, so it's pretty cool. And Yitzhak, he's very into that in his music, and he writes also a lot of beautiful melodies and stuff. So it's great to have that. So he has so three of his sons are three members of the band. The songwriter, the singer, main singer Jonathan, which plays acoustic guitar, and then his brother, which also sings and plays electric guitar, David, and then another brother which plays the cello and also sings. His name is Michael. So three of them are brothers, and then there's me and Benny First, which is the bass player, and so those three brothers, right? Their father Yitzchak Atias, he's Gibraltarian, and he was influenced by like Santana and all sorts of different Latin, influences. And their mother was classically trained in flute. Yeah, so they have like a classical background and this like African, Latin background. Um, for me, my mother was like a flower girl in the '60s. She had all the signatures of all the the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Grateful Dead and Meatloaf from England, if you heard of them, and like you name it, Simon and Garfunkel. She had all their signatures. She would like go to all their shows and stuff. So I definitely had that influence. My father loved listening to classical music, and both my parents are Irish, so I also had Irish music at home. And our bass player Benny First. I'm not sure too much about the influences of his parents, but he's in love with funk. Um, and actually, Saltalena, the band that I was with before Nuriel, he was the songwriter and singer, right? Our bass player. He has a phenomenal voice, by the way. You wouldn't know. Um,
Now
so
that takes for those who appreciate, or those who may not appreciate it, the bass playing in a funk band is quite complex. It's really the whole funk band really revolves around the bass playing, which is
totally.
everything is off, offbeat and a lot of slapping and slapping and popping. And if you can sing at the same time, then you're pretty accomplished.
Yeah. Like I have a lot of respect for Benny, like a lot. And yeah, and he actually wants to like make bass playing his career. So he actually plays with whoever he can, whenever he can. And I've seen him play shows with one rehearsal, and you would never know. Like you would believe that they were a band for like years. Yeah, pretty amazing stuff. So that's kind of our like background growing up, and then also like music that we like listening to. So like Benny likes listening to funk, and David Atias likes listening to all kind of weird African music that no one ever heard, and Jonathan loves kind of um, being like listening to all these updates, like the newest artists that are cutting edge, or art, every year whatever's new out there, he's on it. Whatever new sound is being developed, he's on it and stuff. And I am kind of I love it all. I don't have one thing that I like more than another, and kind of I allow myself to just be influenced by the influences around me that I appreciate. So, like, I like to listen to the music that the different members of the band like listening to. Like, for example, if you go onto our Nuriel, there's not a lot there, but there's some. We definitely should add more. But if you go into our um, um, Spotify account, and at the bottom, we created a few different playlists. There's one playlist over there I think it might be cool. I forgot what it's called, but there's one playlist over there that basically, as the 5 members, we just kind of, maybe it was over WhatsApp or something, but we all sent all the links of songs we like, all the different 5 members, and we created like a playlist. So it's kind of very diverse. It's very interesting. Um,
Beautiful. That's nice. I like that.
Well, that's going to keep changing because it's not, especially if Jonathan's always on top
yes,
of what's
yes,
new.
yeah.
You got to add these
I
playlists.
think we should make the Moshe Tuvia
Playlists.
Like,
That's going to be very.
You should.
very-
Nuriel will be on
It's
this.
going to be bizarre.
It's an interesting thing to do because it's like, wow, these people, like you when I listen to it, I'm like, wow, like we work together, but like these songs are so diverse and so different, you know. And I'm sure that would be true for you guys too. So yeah, let me know when you do that. I'd love to listen to it. Yeah, that's kind of and so that's kind of, there's a lot of different influences into our music and the sound that we want to create and where we want to go. We, as I mentioned, we really want to create space and create a moment and people to be touched, to be seen, to feel like this talks to me. So the choice of lyrics obviously is important to us, and it's important to us that our melodies contain a certain lightness in parts and then a certain heaviness in parts, right? Because um, we all have that, if it's not if it's not in one day at least, so in a week or in a month or in a year or in a span of a lifetime, right? We all go through, ups and downs, and we want the music to kind of talk to both of those spectrums. Um, so within our our set list in a show, we want to have a moment that's maybe a little dark, and then a moment that's just completely just fun, and then a moment that's like truly meaningful. Um, so we want that. So to do that, so we definitely want songs that are very rhythmic, and then we want songs that are like very, very ambient. So we're definitely always exploring um, what sounds we can create with our instruments and also with electronics. We, a lot of different pedals. A lot of the sounds that we have is like Jonathan Atias, which plays acoustic guitar, but he has a lot of different pedal effects that um, creates all these different. It's like it's sort of it's supposed to create a sound that's like different synths. But we don't want anything. We don't want anything to sound too. We want everything to mesh with everything else. You know. We don't want it to be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay,
Continue to be
now,
important.
yeah, exactly. It's, we don't want to take different sounds that are out there and just replicate them and just put them all to a mishmash and they're all doing their different thing. No, to like kind of like um, work with them in a way that when you add the guitar to the cello to the drums all together, it's creating a certain vibe and a certain sound, right? So we're always exploring more and more, and we want to get to a place where when you listen to the music, you can be like, "Wow, that sounded like angels," or "Wow, that sounded like uh, someone having a really bad day," right? Or and have like both of those things, and relate to both of those
What do
things.
angels sound like?
What's
Yeah.
that?
What do angels sound like? Yeah.
What's,
You gotta hear the song.
I guess so.
Is there a specific song that you like the most? Do you think with the message is most can give the most benefit to the listener?
um
Tough question.
It's a
That
tough
would
it's a
have to
tough
be.
it's a tough question
Yeah, it's not
because
fair.
like I would say, if you're on a road trip in a car and you kind of just like really want to enjoy the scenery and the day and the drive, I would say, listen to Beautiful Day. If you
That's
wanna
what I whispered that one to Tuvia right
you
now.
know and I'm like, and if you like kind of wanna um have a real moment with yourself, kind of, just kind of meditate or just kind of really just lock the door and kind of be in your own space, I would say listen to Caught in a Flame or Moment. Um, I would say uh, if you want to trip to something, I would say listen to um, the Heart Song. Don't know if you heard that song. We don't have an official studio version of it, but we do have it's on our live EP. Um, It's like an 8-minute song or something. Um, so yeah, it depends what it is you're looking for. Yeah, this quite, yeah, and but we still feel like we're at the beginning of the journey. There's a lot more that we want to explore and to say.
It's been about 4 years together.
Um, Probably closer to 6 or 7, actually. Yeah.
So I've got some external questions. Everybody in the band is obviously shomer Torah mitzvot, right? You've got your right. You're wearing the gear. All the songs, like I can't find any one theme in the songs that I could say, oh, this is from Tanakh. This is what Chazal said. It's all. It sounds like I'm not criticizing at all. I'm just saying this is what my observation is, that you have got a lot of obviously Jewish guys who find meaning in Torah and living a life of Torah, and the words they're singing, that they're English and they're universal. So how do you understand? Like, how do you bring those two together? How do you
Are you
understand?
asking
Yourself?
are they Jewish?
Is this Jewish? Is this Jewish music, or is this universal? What is it?
I like the question. I like it.
You know what? I'm gonna start off with a quote that I heard once. I don't know the exact wording, but like it's a concept. I don't know who said it, but God wrote a book called The Universe, and then he wrote a parish. How do you say parish in English? He wrote a commentary called the Torah. So, as we know, Avram Avinu found God in nature. My father actually is about tshuva. He found God when he was 34 in a place where he was the only Jew. And it probably started from the fact that he was a scientist, being honest with his questions and being really being awed by the world around him, and finding God through that. So, to answer your question, to us, I would say, if something is true, it's going to be universal, right? It's going to have to be universal because it's God's universe. And it's with His rules, and He created it all. So, we study a lot of Torah, and we live a Jewish life, and that's it's our lives, and it's filled with meaning. But that allows us, I believe, to notice Torah, to notice truth, to notice God in whatever any average human being is going through, right? And to find meaning in that. If Torah shows me meaning, it also shows me, how to find meaning in the most mundane activity, and in the most, perhaps mundane human being, if such a thing exists. So when we talk about, talk about just being real, and things that talk about things that the human race goes through, or the human being goes through in a day, or in a lifetime, and about struggles and hope, and meaning, um, and believing in that dynamic, of up and down, believing in seeing good, seeing light, as we mentioned, in darkness, or whatever it is. All of that is to me, and I believe to the rest of the band, all is that is living a Jewish life. That's putting it to practice. Um, and we want to do that in a way that anyone can relate to. Sadly, there's a lot of people out there that they don't know the truth behind Judaism. If they heard the word, God explicitly, or if there's also, I think there's also a lot of, within the Jewish, not necessarily, there's a lot of amazing Jewish. These days in Israel, especially. I feel like if you look at today, and if you go like 10 years back, and you look at the content of what Jewish singers talk about, right now, talking about emunah is like it's in style, which is amazing, now, but still, I think in the world in large, talking about God explicitly, or talking about the Bible, talking about Torah explicitly, can be an amazing turn on for certain people, but it can also be a turn off, because I think a lot of people have the wrong idea um, about what Judaism stands for, what Torah stands for, what God stands for. Um, and if I'm convinced in every cell of my being that if the world would know what Torah stands for and what we believe that God wants, they would come chasing, and they would want to hear and be a part of what we want to share and what we believe. And, we believe in every single human being and every single creature, that's been created, and there's a meaning to it, and there's a purpose, and there's an end game. So we don't know how far this music is going to go. We're just doing our part, but we want it to be talking about truth, but without giving it any cultural um, um, limitations. So anybody from any culture, from any religion, from any country can find meaning and truth in it, because if it's true, it's universal. So that's kind of, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Very much. Very much. Yeah. And it's in English because that's what you all speak English, and that's the most accessible language in the world at this
It's in
time.
English because I mean, really because it's funnily enough, we all grew up here in Israel, but it's our mother tongue. As our songwriter, it's his mother tongue. It just comes much more natural to him than Hebrew. Actually, we're planning to actually, yes, write a song or two in Hebrew, just because that a lot of people want it, and we mainly perform in Israel, so it's like, you know, um, we might as we definitely are expanding much more to the religious and non-religious crowd these days in Israel, and a lot of Israeli speakers. Slowly, we're kind of bridging out, and and a lot of them would like to know what we're talking about, right? So we definitely are planning to write in English and act in Hebrew. And to be honest, the whole band is kind of being pressuring Jonathan, like, Jonathan, come on, where's the Hebrew song that you promised us? And it's being delayed because it just doesn't come natural to him yet. So he needs to, work on that. So that's kind of really the bottom, answer for that.
So you want the message to be accessible to as many people as
Yeah.
possible. What are you guys doing to get your music out there besides performing a lot in Israel? Is there like, how are people going to find
So
you?
that's a good question. I think we're, always asking ourselves, how to reach more people. To be honest, we signed a contract with our manager just a few months ago. So up until a few months ago, we had no manager. Everything was alone. Everything we did was just us. Jonathan actually is also a graphic artist, so all our graphics was like homemade. Produced by made by us, and our understanding of the business aspect of music was all based on our limited understanding, and we just worked with what we have, with what we knew. And so Jonathan actually took a course about the business side of music, and this, like, he went to this like school, um, and the guy in this, I think this school has been around now for, I'm not sure if it's 3 or 5 years, but they basically, it's a school for musicians to kind of teach them the art of the business, because most musicians would just be happy to play their instrument the whole day at home and not necessarily deal with promotion, not deal with the internet. A lot of musicians I know don't even have smartphones. It comes with being a musician, I guess. So so there's definitely a lack of the business understanding of the world. So we definitely understood that we need the right person to help us kind of just move forward, because it's not really our domain. It's not our area. Um, and interestingly enough, the founder of this school, apparently has been asked a lot to manage bands, um, and he turned them down. But with our case, he actually offered Jonathan to manage us, because he was
Ooh,
really,
nice.
he was really taken by what we do, and so we started working with him over the last few months, and we've been actually much more busier because of it. We have a lot of recorded stuff that are on the verge of coming out. I mean, not a lot, but we're in the process of just recordings and hopefully working our way towards an album. And so we're hoping that having a manager will help. And yeah, just trying to double feature as much as we can, try and open up for different bigger acts, like so, like in Israel. A few months ago, we opened for Alex Clare in Tel Aviv. That was great. Um, yeah, trying to get in touch with different people. I've been in touch with Isai Rebor. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but we're hoping to, maybe do something with him. So, like, obviously, the more you know, kind of join different things that are going on with different artists, so that you get out there and so different festivals and whatever it might be. So we're working on it. We're working on it. Yeah, and we've not yet been out of Israel, but we were going to do an American. We're going to do a tour in America actually in 2019. Oh no, 2020. Yeah, and then COVID hit, so that never happened. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Excellent.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Tzvi, is there any question that we should have asked about your music, about Nuriel, that we didn't ask? And
That's a good question, Tuvia.
you like that
It's a
question?
great
Yeah.
question.
I hope Tzvi
I
likes the
do. I
question.
do like. I mean, I'm not sure if I like that question because that puts a lot of pressure on me. But it's a great question.
You can say, I have to think about that for too many minutes.
I'll think about it while I'm thinking about it in one part of my brain. So, talking about also how, reaching out people. Interestingly, when we released our music, there's a couple of different there's a couple of different guys out there that put together these playlists. Um, like with just a lot of different artists, on YouTube or whatever it is. So we actually, two of our songs made it onto two um, big playlists that have like millions and millions of listeners. And I think like I think most of not all of our songs, but I think some of our songs, like most of the listeners on Spotify or the YouTube or whatever it is, I think was like in like Greenland, or I'm not even sure where. Some country, I have no idea. Um, so it's kind of like it's interesting, like it's kind of somehow got to different places that we didn't even think about that of kind of trying to get there. So God works in mysterious ways, and we'll see. So yeah, well, we're just doing our part. We're just doing our part, and we're very happy with how it's been doing so far.
It sounds to me like the real experience of Nuriel is to be at the show. It sounds like that's much more than your recorded
Yeah,
stuff. It's the live
100%.
experience.
What
Is that true?
100%.
Okay.
It's hard to capture. I mean, I think we captured a lot of beautiful things recorded, but in a live show, the music is one thing, right? But when you're in a when you're having a conversation with a close friend, like an open heart conversation, and you end up feeling really really close, really like safe and held and seen and understood by this other person. It's beyond the words that have been said, right? The words are just carrying, right, this intention, really, right? And when you experience that intention, it's like the words don't matter as much, right? um it's the experience, right? It's the fact that I'm spending this moment, or I'm feeling what I'm feeling in your presence right now, right? If you would record our conversation and listen to it back afterwards, it might be inspiring, it might not, but you experience something over there that cannot be recorded. So I feel like in our shows, um, because I think also because of our intention, um, and our integrity, with our music, with each other, and with the crowd, really wanting to kind of have uh, a joint experience with the crowd, kind of want the crowd to the same way, when it's like Yitzhak Atias actually says this, which is great, like when you go, it's important for a musician to know, right? Like when a fan comes to your show, right? If a fan is sitting right in someone's show, like he wants you to score, right? He wants you to blow him away, right? He doesn't want you to be mediocre. He wants you to be absolutely, like, the better you are, right, the happier he is, right? Like the crowd want you to, like, make that home run. They want that, they're coming for that, right? So I feel like as musicians, we want that from the crowd. We want the crowd to blow us away. We want that crowd. We want to be wowed by the crowd. I want to walk away being inspired by the crowd. So I think because of that, the way we talk to the crowd, the way we interact with the crowd, that's something that you can't record. And yeah, so I would say therefore, there's definitely something in a show that just happens in a show, and it stays there, or it stays in people's hearts.
Beautiful. It's kind of like you're talking about the moment. It's like the hova.
Yes.
You can listen to the recording afterwards, but it's a recording, and that's its own moment. But it's cliche-y.
Yeah, totally. I love the metaphor. Totally. Yeah, I mean, Yudke Vavke, is like Havaya, which is hova. It's mamish, being present, being here right now with whatever's going on, whoever's here. Like, this moment counts. Every moment.
Help me understand. How does the crowd wow a musician? Clapping louder, crying, swaying, getting up and dancing. Like, I just want to just see if you can verbalize that.
So first of all, yes, definitely all of that. Definitely all of that. I can't deny it. But if I when you can notice when a crowd is, when their intention is external to when their attention is internal. You can notice in a crowd when, like, people are experiencing themselves right now. You could, like, there's a certain, the way the crowd holds itself, the way, even if they clap, the way they clap, even if they scream, the way, like, you can tell, like, there's integrity there. There's kavod, there's like royalty there. There's like there's a demeanor of, like, the breathing is slower. You know what I mean? It's like, or whatever. There's like a certain presence. That, and when I see when we experience a crowd that's like, like, no one's on their phone right now, not because they're committed to not be on their phone, because they're having a meaningful moment, right? Because they're not even thinking of their phone, right? They're happy to be here, and when you finish a show, and you did an encore, but everyone still sticks around because everyone is just enjoying being in everyone else's, because they experience something together clearly, they don't want to let that go. So when it takes an hour for a crowd to clear out, like, wow, I'm wowed by that. You know what I mean?
That's a beautiful thought. These are good questions, good answers. I'm happy I'm here today. This is
okay.
Yeah.
You can also ask good questions.
Yeah.
Wow, Tzvi, like when we talked to Reb Yitzchak, and he gave me this tremendous teshukah to go to his Havdalah, and now you're talking to me, and we're talking to us, and I want to go to the Nuriel show. Like, we got to get there.
We got to get there, Tuvia.
How are we? Who's going to sponsor these tickets?
Yeah.
But hey, I'll give you this. I know it doesn't help much, but hey, Tuvia, Moshe, when you come, you'll have a free ticket, okay?
Wow, free tickets, everybody, got that?
A free ticket to Israel. Oh, to the concert. That's exciting. No, I'm excited.
Very good. Okay, Tzvi, we are so grateful to you that you spent this time with us, and you shared. You gave us a window.
You gave us a moment.
You gave us a moment. You gave us a window into your neshama, into the neshama of the music that you and your band is creating, and we really appreciate this, and we think we hope and we do believe that a lot of other people will connect to this, and hopefully this will help get your music out there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. You definitely gave me a moment. So yeah, it's great to see you too, and I hope to see you guys here in Israel, and there in America. Please God, there too.
Amen.
Yeah, we got to get a tour for you.
Please God, I'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
God bless.
Okay, we hope you enjoyed that deep conversation with Tzvi as much as we did. And now, before we do an outro clip, we want to say if you have any comments, criticisms, suggestions for the Jewish Music Platform, please reach out to us at ravtuvnetwork@gmail.com, RAVTUV network@gmail.com. Of course, we're looking for sponsors for upcoming episodes. We got a good thing going here, and we want to keep it going. This is a nonprofit, 501c3, fully tax deductible. Talk to us about sponsorships. And now a clip from Nuriel, a beautiful song called Beautiful Day. I got to watch the video here. Beautiful footage of the land of Israel. Beautiful footage of beautiful Jews. Enjoy A Beautiful Day, Jewish Music Platform.
We sat on the grass on a beautiful day. Don't need any mask, it's a beautiful day. A straw summer hat, it's a beautiful day. The birds in the sky, it's a beautiful day. It's just you and I, it's a beautiful day. Let's keep it alive, it's a beautiful day. We wander the land both near and far. We glow in the night with a million stars. Come follow the light to where we are. Release the bounds of our sorrow. We held our dreams for tomorrow. Safe in the wings of a beautiful day. And I love this feeling and I wanna keep on feeling it. I love this feeling and I wanna keep on feeling it. I love this feeling and I wanna keep on feeling it. May we keep on feeling it, yeah. May we keep on living it, yeah. We wander the land both near and far. We glow in the night with a million stars. The king in disguise, healing every scar. The birds in the sky, it's just you and I.